What is the weirdest thing you find extremely attractive? My husband can do an incredible impersonation of a gorilla. Knuckles on the ground, butt sticking out, huffing noise, the whole deal. Wouldn't you know that has gotten me into bed more times than I would care to admit it. I want to say it's mostly because he makes me laugh so much, but damn, sometimes I see a gorilla and I'm like, wow, he's pretty handsome. Edit, I'm so fucking proud that this is my top comment. Thanks for the awards. Also, I think some of you are taking me way too seriously about finding actual gorillas attractive. For me, that also goes for events. When I was in nursing school, we had what was called our white coat ceremony in our first semester. It's like a welcome to becoming a nurse event. We all dress business casual, wear our lab coat, have a guest speaker, and take pics. It's sweet and feels pretty special, but it's not as big of a deal as our pinning ceremony. So we all show up for the event, and in walks one of our classmates in a full blue suit. A horde of my classmates erupted in awe because he had clearly overdressed, but that one event made me look at him different for the rest of my schooling. It wasn't the fact that he was in a suit, but the fact that he was overdressed and not in a cocky way. He actually was really embarrassed when he realized his mistake, but damn, I still feel a little tingly inside about it. The idea that in this microwave-ready, Instagram-perfect world, that there are people, like all of you in this thread, that appreciate the imperfections in people and make them sound like the most attractive features ever. Edit, thanks you guys. This is probably my most favorite thread ever. There is so much appreciation and positivity being spread here. I will always keep this in mind when I don't feel quite my best. My husband got himself this bear onesie. The first time he put it on I was like, what is this feeling? Why am I aroused right now? After a few occasions of him wearing it I was like, well, I guess I'm a borderline furry. Although I think it's the snuggly softness that does it for me rather than anything animalistic. He still thinks it's very weird, but he will put it on for me when I ask. Too bad for him, our anniversary is in the height of summer. Edit, onesies are widely available. So I don't really understand why so many people are asking where he got it. I mean, they're literally everywhere, and it's not like his is special. It's not a magical onesie, it's just a normal, fluffy onesie with a hood and bare ears. It's also not one of those loose ones. I like the way it hugs his butt, but he bought his in Next, a basic high street shop in the UK. That was maybe 4 or 5 years ago, though. But you could definitely get mine on Amazon. This has been my favorite comment so far. At first it was kinda funny to me, but I made it so much funnier in my head. I'm imagining some chick wearing lingerie and the dude in a bear costume comes out of the bathroom and in a Yogi the Bear voice says, I'm gonna taste what's in your picnic basket. P.S. Have a link to this onesie? Definitely not going to get one. Just doing research. Edit, you guys are nuts. I appreciate you all. Here's a headline for you. Man bears all for his lover, and's in sticky mess. I have always been conscious of my nose. I was standing in line at my husband's Christmas party when some a-hole turned around and went, wow. Look at that schnoz me. Stunned embarrassed silence. Are you Jewish? Me? No. Did I offend you? Me, yes, I'm very insecure about my nose. Don't ever get it fixed. Not everyone can carry off a nose like that. Turns out it was the owner of his company, so I'm glad I was so shocked I didn't say anything rude. Nothing deepens an insecurity quite like a stranger pointing it out the second they meet you. Edit, I had no idea so many people had similar experiences. What a shame there are many obnoxious people in the world. Actually, this is what I came to say. I met my wife online. She was over online dating, but I commented on her nose and she loved it. We've been together for 8 years and are probably getting divorced anytime now. Edit, I appreciate all the thoughtful, encouraging responses and the nose puns. I don't think either of us want a divorce and there still might be hope to salvage things, but if it does go that route, it was both of us who blew it. Freckles, scars, and skin blemishes in general. So much airbrushing and makeup nowadays hide our human imperfections and make people look like they're made out of plastic. I want to see the unique pattern of the person and listen to their stories of how they got those scars. If I wanted to spend time with something with the perfect complexion, I got my car. My girlfriend doesn't have perfect teeth. She's super insecure about how two of her teeth are a little crooked, but every time she smiles it's the most adorable thing ever. Something about those slight imperfections just make her that much more perfect. She's planning on getting braces when she saves up some more, which is kind of a bummer. More power to her though. When I met my wife, her one front tooth was a little crooked, and I always thought it was kinda hot. She wanted it fixed when we were getting married for her wedding pictures, and I was low-key a little bummed. Lol. I didn't make a strong case. I said something like, "Are you sure? I kinda like it." She pretty much told me it made her insecure and she hates it, so I couldn't really argue with that. I thought I was the only one though. That's funny. Men who look tired, that whole eye bag, sleepy eyes, slightly dazed look. Also when a guy unbuckles a belt. Edit to add, for the people who thank me for giving them a confidence boost, just remember that more often than not the things we don't like about ourselves are deeply liked and even celebrated by others. Attractiveness is subjective and there will always be someone out there who loves you for who you are and appreciates your unique traits. I went snorkeling with a guy from Holland once. I found him a little obnoxious. He didn't want any swim fins, saying he was like Aquaman underwater, and making a big deal out of it. To the group in the boat, he was rummaging around the guide's compartment and found a big knife. He jokingly pointed it at the guides, while doing pirate noises. Honestly, he stressed me out a little. But when it came to jumping in the water, I was a little scared. I'm not a good swimmer, and I don't in particular like when I can't touch the bottom. He was the one who encouraged me, saying that he's also scared. He said a lot of things, and the reason why he hadn't taken any swim fins was because he felt like they were dragging him down. He let his guard down, to make me feel better. Event off it let him open, to be ridiculed a little by the group, about his Aquaman antics. I liked him a lot better after that. I love my short husband. I'm short so I fit perfectly in his arms. He's 5'4" and totally perfect. I catch myself just smiling while looking at him all the time because he is truly the sweetest best husband who gives the best hugs. Who cares what height someone is? My husband is short but makes me feel safe and protected, and he's definitely taller than me. Haha. Height shouldn't matter. The person matters, and oh my gosh, I love my handsome and sweet husband. Masks and face paint, a very specific kind of aesthetic for the most part, but especially scary, horror stuff. I've had the incredible fortune of being able to smash with dudes willing to indulge me on 3 occasions over many years where the corpse paint worn for an event stayed on during sex after. I'd fucking lose my mind if one of my guys put on the right kind of mask to fuck me. But there's also something insanely hot and fun about smearing and distorting a painted face, and getting all messy during all that rubbing and pressing. That said, it's a real pain in the butt cleaning up grease paint, so I guess if I want this to happen anytime in the near future, I need to invest in sheets and pillowcases that can get absolutely destroyed. Edit, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Yo, if there's guys out there with shirtless selfies and scary masks or horror face paint that wanna get complimented, my inbox is open. It's just weird BC of how specific it is, I think, but it's a sound. There's a song I listen to and the vocalist at one point makes this noise that's kinda hard to describe. It's like a sort of but as this deep, back of the throat kind of rumbling noise. I realize that sounds like I'm a crazy person, but I just like the noise and it drives me crazy. BC, I cannot for the life of me figure out how to make that sound. Lol. I hope so. I don't like to use the fact there are nearly 8 billion people on the planet because you'll really only meet a small fraction of them. But that doesn't change that fact. Someone's going to like you. Lol. Edit, this is a recent development for me, so I'm going to elaborate a little, if not for anyone interested in understanding, but for myself. I'm not very socially awkward. I'm extroverted, I genuinely enjoy getting to know people. People who have yet to understand social cues are more challenging to understand than those who aren't. It makes conversation a bit more exciting because I get to learn more about them by leading the conversation. By the time I begin to understand them, I'm most often already invested in them because y'all are so interesting. I always learn a new perspective and something because I'm on the opposite end of the social spectrum. I love it. TLDR. Being socially awkward is interesting AF. Be friends with me. Thank you. Yo, I just realized Mavis Beacon is not a real person. I googled her and there were different people. From the wiki, Mavis Beacon is not a real person. The original photo of Mavis Beacon was of Caribbean-born model Renee Sprintz. She was introduced to Lake Rain, the former talk show host, while he was shopping at Saks Fifth Avenue in Beverly Hills. Crane, who was then a partner in the software Toolworks, devised the sobriquet. The way women smell when they don't wear deodorant or haven't bathed in a couple of days. I'm sure I'm not the only one, but to me a woman's natural scent is like a mist of airborne Viagra. Sadly, I've only experienced it a handful of times in my life since most women tend to avoid letting themselves smell this way at all costs. It sticks with me though, the memory of that smell. I hope to experience it again someday. What attracted me to my boyfriend, soon-to-be fiancé, was that we just laid ourselves bare for each other. No secrets, this is just me. We raw-dogged our relationship, both of us hoping to scare the other off. So far we've just realized that this is how you should act with someone you're totally comfortable with. It's incredibly freeing. Would recommend raw dogging your personality from the jump. 10/10 found my soulmate. When girls wear oversized hoodies/shirts/coats, either they don't realize that it makes them look so fucking adorable or they do, but either way it makes me very hot and bothered. Edit. It seems many of you agree. Glad I'm not alone on that. Edit to Electric Boogaloo. Holy shit, thanks for the love guys. Glad to see we can all agree and something here. Edit 3, well hot damn. It started with 14 and grew to 1.4K. I guess we all know what is good here, eh? I've literally never heard this from anybody other than in movies and TV, which I've just assumed was for pleasing a demographic. I've only dated 2 people in my life, currently dating number 2, and neither of them have said they like my size ever, so I'm just like in this perpetual state of trying to lose weight and be healthy in other people's eyes, and it's so defeating. Who am I kidding? It is consistently bringing me down despite my hiding it. Suddenly I am crying. I'm a lesbian. But there are 3 things that I find attractive in all genders. Suits. Has to be a certain suit though, like a suit that's bold but someone pulls it off really well. Rolling up sleeves. Not necessarily rolled up sleeves, but the act of someone rolling up their sleeves. I mean holy heck. And then third is that oddly specific thing where someone leans one shoulder against the door frame, then crosses their ankles. Even better if you throw a smirk on top. I'm a woman and would be absolutely mortified if I was out in public with visible camel toe. Personally, I make sure I choose my underwear and clothing carefully so as to prevent it from happening. That said, I've seen and heard a lot of people, mainly men, say that they like seeing camel toe. I know we all have our own tastes, yet can someone please explain to me why camel toe is seen as attractive? Edited to add, when I reread my comment, it sounded a bit snarky. And I didn't mean it that way. I'm genuinely curious to know what it is about camel toe that appeals to so many folk. When a woman has the penance stare, like she's literally devouring my soul through her eyes, the bad bitch type beat, that sharpness and stillness in her facial expression is just too hot for me. Especially if she has a bit longer dark hair. It kinda gives me the vibe of don't get too close or it may ruin your life, and there's just something about that which I find irresistible. My wife lost 115 pounds over 2 years, going from 250 to 135, busted her ass and has kept it off. What no one tells you about significant weight loss after a lifetime of obesity is excess skin. She has a little on her arms, and definitely on her belly. She of course hates it, and part of me hates it for her because she feels ripped off a little, but for me her belly being soft, saggy, All the stretch marks is so absolutely sexy because it's like battle scars. It shows what she overcome and accomplished, and I would take her to me over any supermodel. Normal to me any day 1,000,000 times over. So much sexier to me her tummy is than a normal one. My ex had major stretch marks and loose skin from her pregnancy. Before she met me, I'd always been into the perfectly toned, no ABS but obliques barely showing through look. But then, if I didn't love that part of her in a special way, she was incredibly fit and extremely insecure about the scarring. Didn't even let me see it until we had been together for a year, but it just felt like such a crucial part of who she was and I adored it. I know exactly where you're coming from. Alright, I already know how this sounds, but we gonna play the honesty game here. When a girl has an attitude. I used to work with this black girl at one of my old jobs and she was my partner. Like legit was my bestie for years while we worked together. When we first met she had a strong attitude towards me, eyes rolling, sass woven deep in every word that she spoke, head bobbing side to side, the works. People warned me that she was a mean cold-hearted bitch. But when she sassed me for the first time I nearly fell in love. I don't know what it is about it. Yeah, she was a beautiful woman but it wasn't her looks that got me, it was how she carried herself. She built a wall around herself stacked with a bad attitude and I soaked it all in. She turned out to be an absolute sweetheart with an edge as sharp as a razor. But man, when anyone tried to tell her anything the attitude meter shot to 100 and I couldn't get enough. She was dating some other lucky guy at the time so I never tried to take my shot. But yeah, I don't know why I just love that attitude. And don't get me wrong, not just anyone can pull it off. Too many people have attitude and what I see is ignorance or stupidity spewing from their mouth. Real attitude is something different. I don't know, man. I'm done. Move on to the next post. Like I said, I know how it sounds and I don't need 100 randos commenting about how they're offended by one or two words I used. Last second edition, this isn't a racial thing. I've been affected by attitude from women of every shade. This was just a specific example I could give that popped in my mind from reading Op's initial question. When my husband shows empathy and kindness towards others, he's the best human I know. So when I see he notices others who are vulnerable or snuggles a cat etc., it make me weak at the knees. Also, when I hear how he works, since COVID home office is more of a thing, I've overheard a lot of his office interactions. He's so good and knowledgeable at what he does, DevOps manager, but he's very modest and diplomatic when training and working with others. I'm so impressed by him, I end up swooning. So I never knew I found khakis so hot on a man until I met my boyfriend. He rarely wears them unless we need to dress up for something or I request it, but he was wearing them the first time I met him and oh boy. He also has a lot of moles in places and it's cute like a couple on his earlobe. I have a lot too so it's kind of fascinating to me to discover new ones on him. He has no interest in mine except when he goes to pluck a hair out he's weirdly into it lol. On girls it's comfy clothes, oversized shirts and shorts. Messy but still cute hair, stuff like that. Skirts, especially skirts with a lot of movement. There is this YouTuber who makes the sharpest knives in the world made of random shit lol but for some reason his videos are strangely erratic lol and I'm not the only viewer who says so. I've seen a lot of comments like, why is this kinda a turn on? Lol, but I think he caught into his viewers' kink cause he does some sus stuff with his hands from time to time lol. He made this mold and put his finger in it for no reason and that's when I'm like okay he defo reads the comments. I've never thought hands were hot until him and I think I've only ever noticed his hands lol. Slightly conky, crooked teeth. No, not messed up jagged yellow teeth, not a lack of hygiene. It's just the natural imperfections that get me going. I have never been a fan of perfect white teeth, fake boobs, filler etc. because I don't see beauty anymore. I just think bought and paid for. Every guy and girl I've ever seen get their teeth whitened now stretch their lips and bare their teeth as much as possible in photos and it just reminds me of Baron Von Doom from Who Framed Roger Rabbit when all his cartoon physicality starts showing.